Alright guys, today we are going to be solving a mystery that has been going on since at least the 1700s. We are going to figure out what is the best way to keep your kitchen knives sharp. With kitchen knives, if you want them to stay sharp, you pretty much have two options, or at least two options that we're going to explore in this video. You can buy knives that are self-sharpening, which is what I have here. I have a big knife that is self-sharpening. It has a sharpener, I guess I could use the term sharpener loosely inside of this case, but it's just like a very coarse carbide sharpening thing. So that way every time you pull the knife in and out of the sheath, it sharpens itself. Secondly, you can have a knife block that has essentially the same system just built into the knife block. But for some reason, I could not find a single knife block that had the system for all of the knives. It's usually only, this one only has it for this top row and none of these down here. So I don't really know what that's about. But this is one option that you have, is to go the self-sharpening route. The self-sharpening route, these knives are a little bit more expensive than regular knives. So, should you go this route, spend a little bit extra money on having a built-in sharpener, or should you buy a little bit cheaper knives, but then spend the same equivalent amount of money and just buy a cheaper, low-end knife sharpener? This is the mystery that we are going to solve today, so let's get to it. So, first things first, we are going to use this handy-dandy sharpness tester and see where the knives are at in stock form, I guess you could say. For those of you that don't know, this is a sharpness tester. It has a piece of string across this little clip, and it measures how many grams of force it takes to cut the string. So that way we can have an accurate measurement of before and after. So I think I'm just going to use both of the chef's knives because they're both pretty identical, just with two different sharpening systems. Maybe if I feel like getting crazy, we'll get out another one. Let's see where they are. Wow, 195. That's actually that's pretty respectable, especially for just a regular kitchen knife right out of the package. Our second one here. Hmm, 220. So 195 and 220. So that's actually works out perfect because they're both roughly about the same sharpness. So that's awesome. You guys are going to love this. To do our test, I'm thinking of using a cinder block. So that way I could, since these knives, since the self-sharpening aspect is it's going to get sharpened every time you pull it in and out of the knife block. Pull it out of the knife block, swipe it across the block, put it back in. Pull it back out, swipe it across. And do that multiple times and then see if our number stays the same as what it was or see if it gets worse. However, I do want to see how much one swipe will dull it. So that way we kind of have an idea of how much we're dulling it per swipe, if that makes sense. So started off at 195. Oh man. I didn't put that much pressure. Let's see. Start off 195. Yikes. One little swipe took us from 195 to 525? Oh no. Okay, let's try this one. Alright, but except for this time, I'm just going to use the weight of the knife. Alright, let's see here. That was almost... I mean, I really didn't put that much pressure with this one, but I put way less with this. That took us all the way to 560 with one swipe. I might need to come up with a different method because this seems to be very, very aggressive. So let's put this knife in and out one time. Let's see. Okay. So we were at 525. Hey! that actually did a pretty good job. We were at 525, back to 400. I would bet if we did this a few times. Okay, now let's see. Hmm. 360. Let's give this one a try. We'll do, what do we do on this one? 4 or 5 swipes? Oh, wow. That sucks to use unless you're... Okay, that's horrible. So that's 1. I literally just saw a chip fly out. Unless you're only supposed to do it very lightly. See, we start off 560. Let's see where that takes us. Oh, 560 to 455. Let's see here. So I think before we do our test, what we need to do is let's get a visual representation of how sharp a 4 to 500 is on this scale. So that way we kind of know what we're working with. So we're just going to use a piece of paper. I mean, okay, so a 4 to 500 is still very sharp. Slices right through, no problem. Check this one. That one kind of tore a little bit. Okay, so this one is definitely not as sharp. Alright. I feel like that kind of gives us a good representation of what a 4 to 500 is. That could definitely still, you know, cut through vegetables or a steak or whatever just fine. So, let's do this. Like I said, for each knife, let's run it over the cinder block, in and out of the case, run it over the cinder block. Let's do that 10 times. And then check our sharpness, and we'll see where we're at. If it maintains anything under a 500, I'm going to call that a win. All right. See where we're at. I think, I don't know, I just have a gut feeling. I think we're going to be under 500. We're at 615. So it seems like it's doing a pretty good job. Because I feel like if I just swiped it on here 10 times, it would probably be up over 1,000. So this just happens to dull it just a little bit faster than this sharpens it. Maybe if I did like 2 swipes for each one pass, then it might maintain a little bit better of an edge. But this is working better than what I thought. Let's see about this. I mean, even at 615, it's still sharp. I mean, that's any kitchen use, that's gonna slice right through anything. Now let's see about doing it with this. It's going to be much tougher. All right. Man. This one, I think this one's going to be way worse because this thing sucks, to be honest. Oh, it feels kind of sharp. No way. This one did better. So this one's a 420. Wasn't that what it was the first time? Whenever I only did 1 swipe? How is this one so much better? This one maintained the same kind of edge. Okay, well, how come I can't cut paper then? Oh, there we go. Let's do that again. Is that even right? Something had to be like faulty here or something. Okay, that time was a 695. Let's do a third one. Get an average here. That one was a 430. Okay, so I guess this one's better. I don't really know what's going on here. That's shocking to me, honestly. It sucks to use. It's so much worse to use. But I guess it does a better job. I guess we find out that with the self-sharpening knives, you can maintain a level of about 400 to 500-ish that should be more than enough to cut vegetables or meat or, do whatever you're going to do in the kitchen. So now let's try the electric sharpener and see how much better off we are. So what we're going to do is this knife, since this one is the better, since this sharpener is apparently the better one, this is going to be our representation of the self-sharpening knife. This one will be our representation of the kitchen sharpener knife. And we'll dull this, sharpen it, and then I'll get some like fruits and stuff, and we'll cut them and see if this one can do, or see if this one can do anything that this one can't do. Let's dull this thing down. I'm gonna get it real dull. $1,085. So, dullest one yet. So let's see how far we can recover. Oh, that's quiet. So this is a two-step sharpener. It has like a coarse side and then a fine side. That motor is so weak. You listen to how easy that bogs down? Maybe a self-sharpening knife is the best. Oh, wow. I mean, that's only the coarse side. I think we've already made pretty good progress. Alright. Just from that little bit, let's see where we're at. That only got us to 575. Maybe we just need to run it through a couple more times. Alright, so after quite a few more passes, now let's see where we're at. Hopefully we can get back down to that 200. $775 using the sharpener. More made it more dull. I don't know how that works, to be honest. I am going to try one more thing, though. There's something about this second stage that makes me feel like it's making the knife duller. Just by the way it kind of like makes the knife shake in it. I feel like it's damaging the edge versus the number one thing, or the coarse section, I feel like it's actually making it sharp. Whenever I feel the edge after doing number two, it doesn't feel quite as sharp as it did with number one. So I'm going to run it through just on number one. And let's see where that gets us. All right, let's go with that. See that, what do I know? I just make YouTube videos. But it feels sharper to me. Let's see. That's 400. So, I think my hypothesis is correct. Whenever you use the number two side, it makes it more dull. Really, no matter which route you take, whether it be this sharpener or a self-sharpening knife, you end up about the same. So for our final test, if you asked I don't even know where I was going with that. For our final test, we're going to see which one is, if there's a difference between these two knives. If you asked a professional knife sharpener, they would probably tell you that this one that we ran through the electric sharpener has a like a better quality edge, because that sharpener uses stones, and this one you're kind of just like ripping it through a sharpener. So I don't know all the science or all the specifics, but I'm sure that a professional knife sharpener would say that this one is more gooder than this one. But we're going to see if there's actually any real difference whenever we're cutting up food, which is what you'd be doing. So I'll use the more dull one first. I mean, that felt completely fine. Let's see how thinly we can slice this. I mean, that is paper thin. You can see right through that. It seems like it's just a little bit tough to break through the skin, where maybe it's just doesn't quite have that edge to it. But once you're in there, I mean, you're in there and you can go very, very thin. Let's try this one. Okay. I can feel a difference. So this one, even though these are roughly the same sharpness on the sharpness tester, this one immediately starts to just slice right through the skin. There's not that little period of time where... So like this, I don't even know if you can see it on camera, but if I want to cut through the skin, like I'm moving, there it cuts through the skin. So you kind of have to like move it quite a bit. Whereas this one, if I just put it on the skin, right there, I'm cutting through the skin. Let me, what if we do it this way? Flip that over. Just use the weight of the knife. Oh. Oh, there we go. Now it bites into the apple and starts to cut into it. So that was quite a bit. Let's see if this one has a difference. Oh. See how much easier it wants to just slice all the way through? You can feel it in your hand more than anything. I wish you guys could feel it. This one feels like it, whenever you go to cut, it's almost like it wants to just pull itself all the way through. Whereas this one is more of a, it'll go through, if you kind of push it through, it'll go. That's interesting. I also have a cucumber. See if we can cut that pretty thin. Start with this one. Let's see here. Oh, wow. Paper thin. Without any issues. This one, with the cucumber, I can feel the exact same thing. It's like, you go to cut, it's like, okay, it's not cutting. Oh, and then it slides in. And I bet this one, yeah, it just slides in almost instantly. As a conclusion, here's what I'm going to say. If I had to pick one, I would probably go with this one that has the self-sharpening knife block. Yes, this is a little bit sharper, and the cutting experience is maybe a little bit better. Just a touch, just a tiny bit. The only real difference was that beginning right before it breaks through the skin. Other than that, I mean, you can cut stuff thin. If you handed these knives to like two different people to cut like vegetables with or something, you're not really going to know that much of a difference. So if I had to pick one, I would pick the self-sharpening one. But if I wanted to have like just a really nice edge, and I would presume that this edge would probably last a little bit longer since it's, you know, a little bit better quality or whatever, then I'd go to this one. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.